In February of 1959, searchers on a bare mountainside in the Soviet Union found a tent, half buried in snow. Inside, 9 hikers' boots, their coats, their food, their maps, their money, everything they needed to survive the night. What they did not find was the hikers, and on the side of the tent, the detail, this case has never escaped. It had been cut open from the inside. 9 experienced mountaineers, in the dark, at 25 below zero, sliced their way out of their own shelter and walked away from everything that could keep them alive. None of them came back. Every name has a record. Some records were buried for a reason. This one was sealed for 30 years. They were the best the Ural Polytechnic Institute had. 10 young trekkers, students and graduates, most in their early 20s, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an engineering student with a reputation for careful planning. The route they filed in January 1959 was a Grade 3, the highest difficulty certification in Soviet sport hiking, 200 miles through the northern Urals. In the dead of winter, they were qualified for it. All of them. 10 set out. On the 4th day, one of them, Yuri Yudin, turned back with joint pain. That decision saved his life. He would spend the rest of it as the 10th man, the one who walked away. The remaining 9 climbed toward a mountain the local Mansi people called Kolashyakhl. It's usually translated Dead Mountain, though Mansi speakers say it really describes a barren place, a slope where nothing grows and no game lives. The name was never a prophecy, but it has read like one ever since. On the 1st of February, for reasons debated to this day, a navigation error, or a deliberate choice to practice a cold camp, they pitched their tent not in the shelter of the tree line, but on the open slope itself. They cooked. They wrote their trail diary. Someone joked in the group's homemade newsletter about the abominable snowman. Then, sometime in the night, everything stopped. They were due to send a telegram home by February 12th. It never came. The search began in late February. Fellow students first, then police, then the army. On February 26th, they found the tent, half collapsed under snow, cut open from within, and inside, laid out with terrible neatness, 9 pairs of boots. Leading away down the slope, searchers found footprints, 8 or 9 sets, some in socks, some barefoot, one in a single boot. And here is the first thing the case files insist on, because everyone expects panic. The tracks were orderly, walking pace, together. Whatever drove them out of that tent, they left it like people following a decision, not people fleeing in all directions. The prints faded after about 500 meters. The hikers were found the way this mountain gives things back, slowly. Under a tall cedar nearly a mile from the tent, the remains of a small fire, and the first 2 men, in their underwear, hands burned from the fire, or from climbing. Because the cedar's branches were snapped off up to 5 meters high, as if someone had climbed it, again and again, to look back toward the tent. Between the cedar and the tent, spaced out along the slope, they found 3 more, Dyatlov among them, frozen in postures that all pointed the same direction. They died climbing back, toward the tent, toward the boots and coats they'd left behind. The last 4 took until May. They were under 4 meters of snow in a ravine stream bed past the cedar. And they are the reason this case has never been allowed to rest. One had a fractured skull. 2 had chests crushed inward. Force the examining doctor compared to a car crash, and yet almost no external wounds. Something had broken them without bruising them. One of the 4, Lyudmila Dubinina, was missing her tongue and her eyes. So were the eyes of the man beside her. I'll give you the forensic reading now, because these were real people, and the internet has been cruel to them. The bodies had lain 3 months in a snowmelt stream, and scavenging animals and water do exactly this. It is almost certainly the explanation. It has simply never felt like enough, because of everything else. Some of the 4 were wearing clothes taken from the dead by the Cedar, and when those clothes were tested, several carried traces of radioactivity. The 1959 investigation ran 3 months, considered the Montse, considered the wind, considered escaped prisoners, and closed with a sentence that has haunted Russian archives ever since. The hikers died, it said, of a compelling natural force. Which force? It did not say. The files were classified. The pass was closed to hikers for 3 years, and for 3 decades, the Soviet Union simply did not discuss it. Into that silence, the strangeness poured. Other trekkers and even military personnel in the region reported orange spheres in the sky that season. Real reports in the file. The radioactive clothing-fed talk of secret weapons tests, though there's a mundane candidate. 2 years earlier, the Kishtim nuclear disaster had contaminated swaths of the Urals, and traces on well-traveled gear were not impossible. Explainable, but never actually explained in the record. That distinction is the whole case. Infrasound, katabatic winds, a military cover-up, the Yeti from their own newsletter, for those who wanted it. For 60 years, every theory found the same wall. Nothing seemed able to explain disciplined mountaineers cutting out of their shelter, and then walking, calmly, into lethal cold. Then, in 2019, Russia did something unusual. It reopened the case, and in July 2020, the Prosecutor General's office gave its answer: a slab avalanche. Not the Hollywood wall of snow, a small dense plate of wind-packed snow, released hours after they'd cut into the slope to pitch camp, sliding just far enough to crush people against a rigid tent floor. Escape the tent, treat your injured, retreat to the tree line, lose the tent in zero visibility, and the cold does the rest. A year later, 2 scientists, Alexander Puzrin and Johann Gaume, published a model in a Nature Portfolio journal showing exactly how that small slab could generate car crash forces against bodies braced on a tent floor. The mountain even cooperated. Expeditions in 2022 and 2023 photographed fresh slab avalanches on those very slopes in the same conditions as that night. The theory isn't just mathematics anymore. The mountain has been caught doing it. And yet listen to the scientists themselves, because they said it best. We do not claim that now we have a final explanation of what happened. So now I want to know what you think. Is this finally solved? A small avalanche, a hard night, and 60 years of noise around a natural tragedy? Or does the orderly walk downhill, the radioactive clothes, the lights in the sky? Does something in that file still not add up for you? Tell me in the comments. I read them. Here's what we're left with. 9 of the best trained hikers in the region, a tent cut open from the inside, boots left in a row, a calm collective walk into 25 below, 2 men burned at a fire they built while freezing, 3 who died climbing back, 4 broken by a force that left no bruises, and an official cause of death from 1959 that no one would explain for 30 years. The avalanche theory answers more of that list than anything ever has, but notice what it answers. It answers what? What it has never fully answered is the question the footprints ask. Why 9 careful people who knew exactly what the cold would do kept walking away from everything that could save them. Perhaps fear of a second slide, perhaps injury, darkness, and duty to the wounded. Perhaps the mountain simply left them no good choices, only slower and faster ways to die. We have a mechanism now. We still don't have their night. The file called it a compelling natural force. 60 years later, our best science agrees and adds, in the same breath, that it isn't certain. 9 people walked down that slope in the dark, together, without their boots. Whatever compelled them, it is still up there, in the 1 hour the record never reached. That's where the record ends. But it's not the only one. If you want to be here when the next one opens, subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll know the moment it does. A new account goes up every couple of weeks. And if this case got under your skin, leave a like. It's a small thing, but it's how these stories reach the next person who can't let them go. I'll see you at the next account.